it's interesting to ask students to begin with, like, why do we break into partnerships or groups at all? Like, why don't we do the whole class as one big unit the whole time? And if we can agree that those partnerships and small groups allow us a chance to like share more and to hear other ideas before we come back, well, then how do we do that best? Right? So then the norms fall out of like, well, this is why we do small group work, or this is why we do group work at all.
In my classroom, we think a lot about like, what does a good conversation look like? And we actually like script that out of like, okay, when I'm in a conversation where I really feel heard, or I'm really hearing somebody else, it looks like this, it sounds like this, it feels like this. And so there's a list of expectations with turn and talks and conversations that we revisit, particularly if things are not working the way that I want them to. Oftentimes folks worry about students not having the ideas, right? And it's like every single student I've ever worked with has the most amazing ideas in their brain. And also, it can be hard to pull it out.
It's helpful for them to give them strategies about, what happens when we don't have anything left to say, or I wanted to hear more about what that person was saying, but maybe it's my turn to speak. So I think some of the protocols, like, communicating in scientific ways, gives them a resource to kind of look back and say, oh, well, I can ask questions, or I can ask them to clarify, or can ask them what this data means. So it's not always them sharing what they figured out, which I think can be impactful because they might not have it figured out yet, but through that conversation with their peers, they can ask those questions. You don't just have to ask me them.
If we want students to practice listening and practice collaborating, one thing we found really helpful is to give them chances to see how other people do it. So we can do it sometimes as a fishbowl, or sometimes as like a Socratic kind of deal where we have students observing a conversation between peers, letting them feel like, okay, how long is about a 60-second talk and turn and talk? And how does that conversation go? And once we've seen a few examples of how different people kind of show that they're listening and and how they structure their talking, then we can give them some scenarios to act out. So asking students to act through hey, your partner's having a really tough day, and, giving a student a chance to act as, oh, I'm the student who's having a hard day. How does my partner respond to me? What's their responsibility? What's my responsibility? What do I need from the teacher in that moment too? And the clearer we can set those expectations beforehand, the easier it is to know what to do.
I give every spot that a student would sit at a number for their table, and then they get a color, and then they get a letter. So for example, at this table, I'm sitting at table 4, and then I know that I am the A partner, and this is the B partner. And so when I ask students, okay, A, B partners talk, and the A has a job and the B has a job, they go here, okay? And then I also give every seat at the table a color. So this is my red, that's my blue, and this is my green, and this is my yellow. And for my own sanity's sake, the same spot at every table is the same color. So that I know that when I ask red chairs to go get the bins, I should see the same 7 kids in the same spot at every table get it.